A hit-run Tesla driver has been jailed over a crash that left a Melbourne nurse with lifelong injuries after initially blaming the car's autopilot for causing a tragic crash.
Did you know that Tesla's autopilot is often blamed for accidents it didn't cause? In this video, let's discuss the truth behind Tesla crashes, explore false claims, and reveal why some drivers play the blame game. First off, let's address the negative press surrounding Tesla's driver assist features. You've probably seen headlines or heard people talk about how terrible Tesla's autopilot is, how it doesn't work, or how it caused accidents. It seems like every other day there's a new story about a Tesla crash blamed on autopilot. Let's start with a recent case that really highlights this issue. It took place in Melbourne, Australia. This incident perfectly illustrates the problems we're facing when it comes to accurately reporting and understanding Tesla crashes. So imagine this. It's early morning in Melbourne, still dark outside. A nurse is on her way to work, steps off the curb to board a tram. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a Tesla Model 3 comes speeding down the road and strikes her. The impact is severe. The nurse is thrown about 10 metres and suffers life-threatening injuries. Now, if you just read the initial reports about this incident, you may have seen the headlines blaming Tesla's autopilot. The driver, a 25-year-old woman, initially claimed that she had engaged autopilot and that the system had failed to detect the pedestrian. It's exactly the kind of story that feeds into the narrative of Tesla's driver assist features being unsafe. But here's where it gets interesting. After a thorough investigation and analysis of the car's data, a very different picture emerged. It turns out autopilot wasn't even engaged at the time of the crash. The very feature that was blamed for the accident wasn't even active when it happened. But it gets worse. Not only was autopilot not in use, but the car's safety systems actually did detect the pedestrian and tried to warn the driver of a potential collision. The driver either ignored or didn't notice these warnings. The investigation revealed that the driver was speeding, going 78 km an hour in a 50 km an hour zone. That's nearly 30 km an hour over the speed limit. On top of that, she failed to stop for the tram, which is a legal requirement in Australia. So, what we have here is a case of reckless driving, plain and simple. The driver was speeding, ignored traffic laws, and disregarded warnings for the car's safety system. Yet, for 2 years, she maintained that it was Tesla's autopilot that was at fault. This case is a perfect example of what we like to call the Tesla blame game. It's becoming increasingly common for drivers involved in accidents to point the finger at autopilot or full self-driving, even when these systems weren't in use or weren't the cause of the crash. Now you might be wondering, why would someone do this? Well, there's a few reasons. Human nature plays a significant role. It's psychologically easier to point fingers at technology than to admit personal fault, especially when the consequences are severe. The high-profile nature of Tesla adds another layer, as some individuals might see an opportunity for publicity or attention by making sensational claims. There's also a financial motivation, with the belief that blaming autonomous features could lead to more successful lawsuits or insurance claims. Lastly, a fundamental misunderstanding of the technology's capabilities contributes to this issue. Some drivers mistakenly believe that these advanced driver assistance systems make the car fully autonomous, leading them to wrongly assume the vehicle is entirely responsible for any incidents. This isn't just happening in Australia, by the way. We've seen similar cases around the world. Remember the incident in China a while back? A woman climbed on top of her Tesla at an auto show, causing a huge scene and claiming that her car's brakes had failed. This story went viral, with millions of people seeing it across various media platforms. After an investigation, it turned out that her claims were false. She was actually convicted of fraud for making up the whole story. These incidents highlighted a really important issue: the gap between reality and public perceptions when it comes to Tesla's safety features. Tesla regularly releases safety reports showing that their cars, when using autopilot, are involved in fewer accidents per mile driven compared to the average car. But a lot of people don't believe these reports. They think Tesla is fudging the numbers or hiding the truth. Now, we want to be clear about something. We're not saying that Tesla's systems are perfect or that they're never at fault in accidents. Like any technology, autopilot and full self-driving have their limitations and can make mistakes. What we are saying is that we need to be more critical of the stories we hear and the claims that are made. We live in a society where it's becoming increasingly common for people to try and shift blame onto others or onto technology when things go wrong. But here's the thing. When we do this, we're not just avoiding responsibility, we're also missing out on an opportunity to learn and improve. If every time something goes wrong we blame someone else or something else, how can we ever get better? In the case of driving, this mentality can be downright dangerous. When drivers assume that their car's advanced features will take care of everything, they might become complacent. They might pay less attention to the road, drive more recklessly, or ignore warning signs. This brings us to the important point about Tesla's Autopilot and full self-driving features. Despite their names, they are not fully autonomous systems. They're advanced driver assistance features, but they still require the driver to remain alert and ready to take control at any time. Tesla makes this clear in their user manual and through warnings in the car itself, but it seems like some drivers either don't understand this or choose to ignore it. They treat Autopilot like it's a chauffeur, assuming the car will handle everything while they sit back and relax. This misunderstanding of technology's capabilities is a significant part of the problem. It's not just about Tesla either. As more car manufacturers introduce advanced driver assistance features, we need to make sure drivers understand what these systems can and can't do. Now, let's circle back on our case in Melbourne. The aftermath of this incident is truly heartbreaking. The nurse who was hit suffered several injuries, including brain damage. In her victim statement, she talked about waking up in hospital, confused and unable to remember what had happened. She now faces permanent disabilities that will affect her for the rest of her life. Every time she sees a car or tram, it's a painful reminder of what happened to her. She worries about her ability to walk, to find a partner, to start a family, all because of one incident. And here's the kicker. For 2 years, the driver who hit her maintained that lie that Autopilot was responsible. 2 years of court battles, 2 years of perpetrating a false narrative about Tesla's safety features, 2 years of additional stress and trauma for the victim. It's cases like these that really drive home the importance of honesty and responsibility. The driver's actions didn't just affect her and the person she hit, they contributed to a wider narrative that potentially undermines public trust in vehicle safety systems that, when used correctly, can actually save lives. These key points highlight the importance of critical thinking, personal responsibility and informed decision-making when it comes to advanced automotive technologies like Tesla's Autopilot. The main takeaway is that we shouldn't blindly trust headlines or initial reports, but instead seek out the full story and verified facts. It's crucial for drivers to thoroughly understand their vehicle's capabilities and limitations, and to remain actively engaged while driving, regardless of how advanced the car's features may be. Additionally, there's a call for more responsible media reporting and improved driver education to keep pace with evolving automotive technologies. By following these guidelines, we can foster a safer driving environment and a more accurate public understanding of advanced driver assistance systems. As we move into an era of increasingly advanced automotive technology, it's more important than ever that we approach these developments with a mix of excitement and caution. We should embrace the potential for safer, more efficient transportation, but we should be realistic about the current limitations of these systems and our own responsibilities as drivers. So, what do you think? Have you had any experiences with advanced driver assistance features? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this. Till next time, drive safely everyone.